Hi guys, CC here. 6 new videos. Take a look. Don't watch alone.
Okay, so I was in my room, I just heard a loud ass bang, and I know I have to record this so someone can believe me. Hello? That's my sister's dog. What the f...
In the first part of this video, it doesn't look like the cat is possessed. More like it's being pulled and attacked by an entity. Terrifying. Second part, the knocking, well, could easily be staged.
Y'all really believe that magic is a show, do you? You got a lot to learn. I'll be right back. He's eating real nails. And watch how a nail's gonna come out of his nose. He does this on the street in front of people. And I'm about to show you more in a second, so people think that this is like special effects and theatrics. What if I told you that contracts with demons go back to the very beginning? Don't believe me? Well, what is this? It was commonly known in the medieval ages that these people would enter into a contract with demons. The demons here then agree to be their slave as long as they live. But the catch is, when they inevitably die, and they will, the magician himself becomes slave to the very demon he made a contract with, making the demon their master. Eternally, forever. There are even many books on the subject. And this magic, spelled with a K, goes really deep, to even forfeiting your human soul to the demon of your choice for some kind of power. But you can't lose your soul. If you go to the grave serving demons, theoretically it's already gone. Not to mention the immense blasphemy you have to enter into. You didn't know there are people on this earth with actual powers? They don't really belong to them, though. They belong to the demons. It's funny to me Christians don't believe that, considering that King Solomon built the second temple by the power of demons. Let me show you some more witchcraft that's right in the open.
Shake it, okay? Shake, much more, shake.
Shake it.
Stop. Open the can.
What?
That's
Nothing.
slower, right?
Wow.
Because now CO2 is in my hand. Watch. 1, 2, 3, go.
What?
Stop being ignorant, they show you what they do. The word right behind me is a word for intimacy. Intimacy magicians. Y'all don't remember that Red Hot Chili Pepper album? The way that our society moves is in tune with magic, even if you don't know they're doing it. They even do it to birth certain people. We'll get into that tomorrow. And if you're on TikTok, just bookmark it. The algorithm will bring you back. But it's a big one.
Magicians and magic absolutely fascinates me, as I still don't know how they pull off half of it. Camera tricks, but I don't know.
This is probably the scariest case to come out of the Appalachian Mountains. Now, this one is personal to me because I actually worked on this case. Now, I had a friend who lived in North Carolina, and he was a paranormal investigator. He reaches out to me one day and it's like, hey, so I got this weird case and, I'm kind of stumped. Like, could you help me with it? Apparently, there was this Native American family who lived on the reservation. And they had a daughter who was like 16 or 17. And at the time, she was getting dropped off from a friend's house one night at her parents' home. Well, her friend drops her off, and she said when she got out of the car, she had to walk this like bumpy, gravelly, muddy road. And she said as she's walking down this gravel road, and right next to her, is the woods, she sees this man standing on the side of the road. And she said he had this black hat on, a black cloak, and she said she couldn't really see his face at the time because it was turned. She said as she walked a little closer to him, he turned his face, and she said he had no mouth, no nose, but these solid red eyes, and he was just staring at her. Well, she said, she walked as fast as she could to the house, and this man began following her. So she runs inside her house, and she's screaming, crying at this time. Her dad's like, what's going on? Why are you crying? And she said, there's this man out there in a hat, he was following me. So her dad runs out of the house and just starts looking for this guy. He doesn't find anyone. He doesn't see anything. And he's like, you sure there was a guy out there? And she's like, yeah, I seen him, he was on the road, and he was followed me to the house. So a couple weeks pass, and they start noticing that their daughter is waking up at night from having these terrible dreams, that she is seeing this man in her room. And not only that, she is waking up with these scratches all over her body. In the next coming months, right, there was something banging on the windows, banging on the doors, right? They could hear scratching sounds coming from the roof all night long, except when the father would go and investigate and try to figure out what was going on, he couldn't find anything. And then one night, the daughter is having this terrible nightmare, and the mother in the other room, she could hear this going on. So she walks over to her bedroom, which the door is halfway open. She looks in, and she said she could see a man standing next to her bed with this hat and this cloak on. She goes in her room, she flips on the lights, and she said it was gone. And not only this thing was, attacking, this girl was attacking their home. It had left scratch marks on the truck, on the home. There were claw-marked footprints all around the home. These are real pictures from some of the damage that it was causing and the scratch marks that it left on this girl. Now, I started looking into this case, and I started researching what we come to know today as the Hat Man. And as I got deeper into this case, I started to notice weird things were happening to me. I lived up in Chicago at the time, and one night I'm asleep, and I just remember it was 3 a.m. I wake up to the sound of a scream, and I'd never heard anything like that before. So I immediately jump up. I think someone's in the house. What is going on? I searched my entire home. There was no one there. The doors were locked. The windows were closed. So as I'm getting ready to go back to bed, I walk past the living room, and as I turn, sitting in a Lazy Boy recliner is what looks like a man in a cloak and a hat, just rocking. And I look again, he's gone. But I could see movement of the chair, and that's someone obviously had bumped it or had been sitting in it. And that sent chills down my back, and I immediately went into the bedroom, closed the door. And mysteriously, as all of this started, it just one day stopped. And to me, what I thought personally was this was a case of the Hat Man.
I love Encounters with the Hat Man. Definitely something to it, just because of the sheer amount of encounters out there. Tell you what, I don't want to meet him.
Gabe. Quiet. Quiet.
creepy, but could be faked quite easily.
To this day, no one knows what ripped those Soviet soldiers apart. Are you guys ready for this story? So how do we know the story is even true? Because the information came from journals kept by the Finnish soldiers during the Winter War. So November 30th, 1939 was the beginning of the Winter War, and the local Sami people warned the Soviet soldiers to stay away from Mount Vatvara and the Kibani Mountains. They told them there was bad spirits and demons on those places, such as Otso. I'm sorry, but do you guys remember that scene from Monsters, Inc. when Sully pops through the doors and he's in the mountains? Anyway, and Veron Susi, that actually looks like a werewolf and moons. You know, they didn't necessarily believe in werewolves like we think of from the movies with a man, full moon, but they did believe in shape-shifting. But the Soviets totally dismissed them, thinking the locals were just trying to dissuade them, and they wanted to take the high ground. War 101. This account actually takes place on the Kibani Mountains, not Mount Vatvara, and here's where it gets super interesting. The Finns let them. They literally hid and watched them climb up the Kibani Mountain. Now, the historical accounts say that there was only very specific narrow paths up and down the mountains, so the Finns posted units all around the mountain. I'm sorry, we gotta take a minute to appreciate the Finn soldiers because they were so badass. With their camo, they could hide right down in the snow and they would put snow in their mouths so that the Soviets couldn't even see their breath. They counted the Soviets going up the mountain. That's how they knew there were 100 of them. So the Finns were posted below for several nights, and then one night, they heard howling and screaming and constant gunfire. Well, the Finns, being separated in units, thought that maybe one of the other units had engaged with the Soviets, but that's not what happened. After 2 nights of screaming, gunfire, grenade blasts, it fell silent. Dawn of the 3rd day, a Finnish patrol went up the mountain and came back with a report. Every single one of them was dead. It was reported that their limbs and heads had been torn off, that limbless torsos were hanging from the trees, some of the bodies had been disemboweled, ammunition casings everywhere. It had appeared as if they were torn apart by a large animal. So had they been attacked by somebody else, where were the other dead bodies? If they were attacked by animals, how come there were no dead animals? 100 armed Soviet soldiers completely annihilated without a trace of any other being. Also during wartime, because of morale, the Finns would have been quick to say this was them that pulled off such a major attack, but no one claimed it. And that's why this is such a big mystery to this day.
Never heard this story before. But there are more terrifying things in heaven and earth than we could ever imagine.
This is the Vatican's forbidden prophecy, and it warns of the world's end. Hidden deep within the Vatican's secret vaults is a mysterious wall covered with images of every pope in history. But this isn't just a display of portraits. It's a dire prediction. According to ancient tales, when the last space on the wall is filled, the world will meet its doom. For centuries, the Vatican denied this prophecy even existed. But in 2023, a leaked document exposed the truth. The wall is real, and only one spot remains empty. The current Pope, Francis, is the 266th Pope. The prophecy states that the 267th will be the final one. But here's where it gets spine-chilling. The wall doesn't just show pictures of the popes. It reveals how each one will die. Some portraits are serene, showing popes deep in prayer. Others are horrifying, popes consumed by fire, struck by lightning, or worse. The last spot on the wall is blank, except for 2 words carved in Latin, Finis Mundi. It translates to the end of the world. In 2023, a Vatican insider revealed that the final image has already started to form. It depicts a pope standing before a crumbling Vatican with a colossal wave looming in the background. The insider also shared that the Vatican has been preparing for this moment for centuries. Deep beneath St. Peter's Basilica, they've constructed a hidden bunker stocked with ancient relics, sacred texts, and enough supplies to survive for decades. But the most unsettling detail? The bunker contains a countdown clock, and it's already ticking down.
The Vatican is definitely a fascinating place. That is the one place I'd choose to explore if I could go anywhere. Who knows what's in their archives? Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Ta-da!